Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so let's do the invocation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashta Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone. So today we will be doing the 12th chapter of third canto. We've been discussing the discussion between sage Maitreya and Mahatma Vidura. So before we move on to the 12th chapter, I would like to give a quick overview of what we had already discussed in the previous class or chapter. There were a lot of numbers. I'm afraid in the last chapter there were too many numbers. So I have prepared a couple of slides. I will show them. And so it's the summary of what we have discussed. So let's see. It's about the time that we discussed. So let me share the screen. So this slide would probably give you the full information. So in the Vedic system, the time, the smallest amount of time is the time that is taken by the sun to pass over a smallest particle atom. That is the smallest amount of time in the Vedic system. So from there, it gives various time scales, time measurements, and then it comes that 15 days is 1 fortnight, and 2 fortnights or 1 day for the Pitas who live on the moon planet. For them, 15 days is the night and 15 days is the day. And then Maitreya talks about the 6 months is the daytime for the Devatas. Our 6 months is their daytime, and another 6 months is their nighttime for the Devatas. And then he talks about the lifespan of Brahma and the time scale of different yugas. Kali Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga, Satya Yuga. So combined time of these 4 yugas is 4.32 million years. And this is multiplied by 1,000 times, gives 1 day, 12 hours of Brahmaji. And that is called Kalpa. And this night is also same amount of time, 4.32 billion years. And in 1 day of Brahma, so this is 1 day of Brahma. 1 day of Brahma is 4.32 billion years. And there will be 14 Manus coming. And each Manu, so each Manu will live approximately 71 Divya Yugas. A Divya Yuga is cycle of 4 yugas. So 1,004 yugas, 1,000 Divya Yugas is Brahma's day. And in one Brahma's day, there is 14 Manus. So that is 1,000 divided by 14 is approximately equal to 71 cycles of 4 yugas. So Brahma will live for 100 years. That is equivalent to 311 trillion 40 billion years. And it is said that this time is less than a second for Mahavishnu. It's a breath like that. So it's the entire lifespan of Brahmaji is less than a second for Mahavishnu. And in each at the end of each day of Brahma, that is Kalpa, what happens is there is a partial dissolution. So I'll show you a picture. We talked about this also in the last class. So this is the structure of one universe. This is not drawn to the scale. This is a simple diagram to depict what's in there in the universe. So you can see in the center there is Bhu Mandala or Bhu Loka, under which there are 7 lower planetary systems. And above Bhu Mandala, we have Bhuvarloka, Swargaloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapoloka, Satyaloka. So what happens when Brahma's, at the end of Brahma's night, end of Brahma's day, so when the night begins, so these 3, all lower planets, and the middle one, and up to Swargaloka. So from the bottom Patala to the Swargaloka, everything will be inundated by water at the end of Brahma's day. Every day this happens. Whereas the 4 topmost planets, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapoloka, Satyaloka, they remain intact. They will not be annihilated. They will not be subjected to this dissolution. So they live. The people in these 4 planets, they have the lifespan is equal to Brahma. So their 1 day is 4.32 billion years. So when Brahma sleeps, they also sleep. So a partial dissolution occurs every at the end of every day of Brahma. So, and what does Brahma do? And in the beginning of next day, he tried to recreate the lower planet systems, beginning from Swargaloka to Patalaloka. So it also talks about that Brahma's lifespan can be divided into two parts. Brahma's life, entire life. It is called Parartha. First 50 years is first Parartha. And so second 50 years is second Parartha. But anyway, so Brahma, our Brahma had completed his 50 years, and we are in the second part. 51st year is running now. And in the 51st year, this is the first day of Brahma. This is the first day of Brahma. And each Brahma's day has got a name. Every day, every Brahma's day has got a name, Kalpa. So this particular day of the Brahma is called Varaha Kalpa, Sweta Varaha Kalpa, Sweta Varaha Kalpa. Because a white boar had appeared in the beginning of the day of Brahma. That's why it is called Sweta. Sweta means white. Varaha is boar, Lord's incarnation. So we are the first day of Brahma is running now. In the after 50 years, this is the 51st year. In the 51st, this is the first day of Brahma, and in the first day of Brahma, this is 7th Manu is running. 6 Manus have already gone. You know that in each day of Brahma, there will be 14 Manus. So 6 Manus have already passed, and we are in the 7th Manu. 7th Manvantara is running. In the 7th Manvantara, we are in the 28th cycle. So we know that Manu lives for 71 cycles, and the current Manu's age is 28th cycle of Kali Yuga. Yeah. So yeah, this is what we discussed in the previous class. Sorry, there are many numbers, and this is another picture. Mahavishnu lying in the Karana ocean, and all these universes are coming out, and they are floating in Karana ocean. We showed the structure of one universe, but they are just like they appear to be like a bubble. And it is also said that the size of our universe is 4 billion miles. That is 500 million yojanas. Each yojana is 8 miles. So the diameter of our universe is 4 billion miles. And all these, it is said that they can fit into skin pores of Mahavishnu. That is the size. How much can we imagine? We can't imagine 4 billion miles of this universe. And can you imagine the size of Mahavishnu? It is said that they can fit, these universes can fit into the skin pores of Mahavishnu. So the more we read, the more we study, the more we understand that less we know. And Lord Brahma says several times, "Oh Lord, as far as I'm concerned, I know nothing of you." So there is so much to talk about Lord Vishnu. Okay, so that's the previous chapter summary, quick summary. Now we'll move to there is a table. I will put this in our group. It summarizes entire time, Vedic times that we have discussed, time structure of the universe. Somebody has nicely put together this PDF. I'll share it in our group. You can have a look at it when you have free time. Okay, so now we will move on to the 12th chapter, entitled Creation of Kumaras and Others. So could we request Mother Kumar Prabhu, someone to read from text 1 to 6, please?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, we can go alphabetical. So we can start with Anil Singh Prabhu, then Anuradha Mataji. Anil Prabhu, you there?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Text 1 to 6.
Yes, please.
Is that
Please
screen share?
bring it up on the screen, Prabhu.
Oh, can you not see it? Okay, so
No.
okay, so probably I know what's the problem is. I know then this one need to be shut down probably. How about now? Can you see now? Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
yes, I can see it. Creation of the Kumaras and others. Text 1. Shri Maitreya said, O learned Vidura, so far I have explained to you the glories of the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his feature of Kala. Now you can hear from me about the creation of Brahma, the reservoir of all Vedic knowledge. Text 2. Brahma first created the nascent engagements like self-deception, the sense of death, anger after frustration, the sense of false ownership, and the illusory bodily conception, or forgetfulness of one's real identity. Seeing such a misleading creation as a sinful task, Brahma did not feel much pleasure in his activity, and therefore he purified himself by meditation on the personality of Godhead. Then he began another term of creation. In the beginning, Brahma created 4 great sages named Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumara. All of them were unwilling to adopt materialistic activities because they were highly elevated due to their semens flowing upwards. Brahma spoke to his sons after generating them. My dear sons, he said, now generate progeny. But due to their being attached to Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they aimed at liberation, and therefore they expressed their unwillingness. On the refusal of the sons to obey the order of their father, there was much anger generated in the mind of Brahma, which he tried to control and not express. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you very much, Prabhu. Right, so in this chapter, we see the further creation of Brahmaji. So before creating living entities, it is said here Brahma had created the ignorance. There are 5 types of ignorance mentioned in text 2. We can probably read that. But unless this ignorance, what it does is that it makes one to forget one's real identity, and it makes one to identify oneself with this material body and identify the belongings around them, around the living entity, and it causes fear. So yeah, me and mine concept is developed because of this ignorance. So the living entities who want to lord it over the material nature are housed in this material creation. And so the living entities thinks themselves to the Lord, so that's because of this ignorance that is created by Lord Brahma. So he created first this ignorance. However, we can see that although the ignorance is created, the Lord comes time and again. Lord is there in our heart, and Lord comes in the form of scriptures, in the form of spiritual master. He takes various incarnations. Time and again he comes to reclaim the conditioned souls. So Brahma was a little bit dissatisfied, displeased that he had created this nescience. He purified, thereby, he purified his mind by meditating upon the Lord, and then he moved forward. And then he created Vidya. Vidya personified, knowledge personified. 4 Kumaras were created in the first. So the names were mentioned: Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatan, Sanat Kumar. So they represent a kind of, Sankhya philosophy or analytical study, and what else we have? Yoga, mystic yoga, and austerity, and penance, like that. So they represent, these 4 Kumaras represents the knowledge, Vidya part. So when they were created, so Lord Brahma, after they were created, Lord Brahma said, "My dear son, please, generate progeny." But however, they refused, because they were very much attached to Vasudeva, Narayana, Vasudeva Parayanaha. So because they are very much attracted to Lord Vasudeva, they said no to Lord Brahma's instruction. So with this, what happened? Anger, like Lord Brahma, became a little bit angry because there was disobedience from 4 Kumaras, not to create the population. So there was a little bit of anger, and that comes out through the, from the middle of eyebrows, and Lord Shiva takes that, Lord Shiva takes birth from there. So we'll read the next part from text 7 to 20, please. So.
Anuradha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Please,
Go on.
you can read.
Okay. Text
And
7.
then after that, we have Apurva Sharma Mataji, if they are happy to read after that. Thank you.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Text 7. Although he tried to curb his anger, it came out from between his eyebrows, and a child mixed blue and red was immediately generated. After his birth, he began to cry, "O destiny maker, teacher of the universe, kindly designate my name and place." The all-powerful Brahma, who was born from the lotus flower, pacified the boy with gentle words, accepting his request, and said, "Do not cry. I shall certainly do as you desire." Text 10. Thereafter, Brahma said, "O chief of demigods, you shall be called by the name Rudra by all people because you have so anxiously cried." Text 11. My dear boy, I have already selected the following places for your residence: the heart, the senses, the air of life, the sky, the air, the fire, the water, the earth, the sun, the moon, and austerity. Text 12. Lord Brahma said, "My dear boy Rudra, you have 11 other names: Manu, Manu, Mahinasa, Mahan, Shiva, Radhavaja, Ugrera, Bhava, Kala, Vamadeva, and Diksha. Text 14. O Rudra, you also have 11 wives called the Rudranis, and they are as follows: Dhi, Dhriti, Rasala, Uma, Niyut, Sarpi, Ila, Ambika, Iravati, Swadha, and Diksha. Text 14. My dear boy, you may now concept all the names and places designated for you and your different wives, and since you are now one of the masters of the living entities, you may increase the population on a large scale. Text 15. The most powerful Rudra, whose bodily color was blue mixed with red, created many offsprings exactly resembling him in features, strength, and furious nature. Text 16. The sons and grandsons generated by Rudra were unlimited in number, and when they assembled together, they attempted to devour the entire universe. When Brahma, the father of the living entities, saw this, he became afraid of the situation. Text 17. Brahma told Rudra, O best amongst the demigods, there is no need for you to generate living entities of this nature. They have begun to devastate everything on all sides with the fiery flames from their eyes, and they have even attacked me. My dear son, you had better situate yourself in penance, which is auspicious for all living entities and which will bring all benediction upon you. By penance only you shall be able to create the universe as it was before. Text 19. By penance only, one can even approach the personality of Godhead, who is within the heart of every living entity and at the same time beyond the reach of all senses. Text 20. Sri Maitreya said, thus Rudra, having been ordered by Brahma, circumambulated his father, the master of the Vedas. Addressing him with words of assent, he entered the forest to perform austere penances. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Matthew.
So thank you. So first, Brahma was dissatisfied after creating ignorance, nescience, and then he encountered disobedience from 4 Kumaras. So there are 5 Ds in the chapter. Very interesting. For practicing devotees, it is very, very important. So there was initially dissatisfaction. Secondly, disobedience from 4 Kumaras. Now, thirdly, there was disturbance caused by the progeny that was created by Rudra. So we know that he was a little angry because Kumaras disobeyed his order of creating population, and from the place in between the eyebrows, Rudra came out and he cried, Rudra, Rudantam. We read this Damodarashtakam, Rudantam Muhur Netra Yugmam Rujantam. Rudantam means cry, Rodana, Rudra. So one who cried loudly is Rudra. And and he asked, name me and give me places. And it is given that he was given 11 places, and he was given 11 names, and he had 11 wives as well. So this way, Rudra started creating population. But as we see that these children, the created Rudra created unlimited in number. They assembled together and they attempt to devour the entire universe. So Brahma saw this, became afraid of the situation, and he said, please, we don't want this kind of population. Please stop producing this kind of population. Go and perform penance. So this is the third D. First D is dissatisfaction. Second is encounterance of disobedience from 4 Kumaras. Third is disturbance caused by the progeny produced by Rudra. But he is moving forward. There are obstacles on the path of service. When we take up our devotion, there are so many obstacles. And people think that just because we are practicing that there will be no obstacles. No way. No way. So even for Lord Brahma, there are obstacles. so many obstacles, but he's not stopping his service. He's not blaming that, because of you, oh my Lord, these things are happening to me. But he's moving forward. That is what we should learn. And we will see as further disturbances as well. Okay, so this is text 28, text 21 to 27, please.
Apurva Sharma, Mataji, are you able to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, you're not sharing text 21. It went straight to 27.
I beg your pardon. Thank you.
Brahma, who is empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thought of generating living entities and begot 10 sons for the extension of the generations. Marichi, Atri, Angira, Pulastya, Pulaha, Kratu, Bhrigu, Vashishta, Daksha, and the 10th son Narada were thus born. Narada was born from the deliberation of Brahma, which is the best part of the body. Vashishta was born from his breathing, Daksha from a thumb, Bhrigu from his touch, and Kratu from his hand. Pulastya was generated from the ears, Angira from the mouth, Atri from the eyes, Marichi from the mind, and Pulaha from the navel of Brahma. Religion was manifested from the breast of Brahma, wherein is seated the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan. And irreligion appeared from his back, where horrible death takes place for the living entity. Lust and desire became manifested from the heart of Brahma, anger from between his eyebrows, greed from between his lips, the power of speaking from his mouth, the ocean from his penis, and low and abominable activities from his anus, the source of all sins. Sage Kardam, husband of the great Devahuti, was manifested from the shadow of Brahma. Thus all became manifested from either the body or the mind of Brahma. Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. So here, after that Rudra, so Lord Brahma created 10 Manasaputra, or mental sons, and also other things that we have seen. He also created Kardama Muni as well, and lust and desire became manifest. So many other things are manifested. So then the next part is text 28 to 33.
Bhakti Devi, are you able to read? If not, then Bhuvaneshwari Mataji can
I
read.
can read.
Oh, Bhakti, okay.
Which text?
Text 28 to 33, please.
Vidura, we have heard that Brahma had a daughter named Vak, who was born from his body and who attracted his mind towards sex, although she was not sexually inclined towards him. This, finding their father so deluded in an act of immortality, the sages, headed by Marichi, all the sons of Brahma, spoke as follows with great respect. O Father, this performance in which you are endeavoring to complicate yourself was never attempted by any other Brahma, nor by anyone else, nor by you in previous kalpas, nor will anyone dare to attempt in the future. You are the supreme being in the universe, so how is it that you want to have sex with your daughter and cannot control your desire? Even though you are the most powerful being, this act does not suit you because your character is followed for spiritual improvement by people in general. Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, who by his own effulgence, while situated in himself, has manifested this cosmos. May he also protect religion for all goodness.
33 as well, please.
The father of all Prajapatis, Brahma, thus seeing all his Prajapati's sons speaking in this way, became very much ashamed at once and gave up the body he had accepted. Later, that body appeared in all directions as the dangerous fog in darkness.
Thank you, Bhakti Devi. So in this section, so Maitreya very gently mentions, he was a little bit hesitant in mentioning this topic relating to Brahma. And he says that we have heard, very hesitantly he's mentioning, we have heard that Brahma was attracted to his daughter Vak, though she wasn't. So he was a little bit the politely mentioning. He's not finding fault, but gently mentioning that we have heard that Brahma had attracted to his daughter Vak, although she wasn't. So this incident tells us, Prabhupada writes, if you go and read all the purports, I've spent quite a bit of time reading all of them. Prabhupada mentions the time and again, there are several instructions for all of us. One is the nature, the nature of this conditioned body and attraction towards opposite sex is there. So one has to be extremely careful when mixing with opposite sex. That is the lesson for all of us. It is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam elsewhere that one is not sit in an isolated place with his own mother, sister, daughter, etc. So that's why the mixing, one mixes with the opposite sex, one must be extremely careful. And secondly, that Lord Brahma is a great personality, very great personality. And we can't just find a fault in him. All the sages were sons of Brahma. They did not like this behavior of Brahma. And they said, no, this is not right. And they prayed to the Lord to correct Brahma's behavior. So Marichi is one of the 10 mental sons, Manasaputra. So his name was mentioned. However, Marichi and other sons, they did not offend. They just prayed to the Lord to protect Lord Brahma from this act. However, the sons of Marichi, they kind of offended Lord Brahma, humiliated, or what's the right word, I'm not getting, but yeah, so the sons of Marichi were laughing at Brahma. Rather than feeling sorry, they were laughing at Brahma. And the sons of Marichi, then they took birth in the womb of Hiranyakashipu's wife. They were born as sons of Hiranyakashipu. Later, those sons were born as 6 sons of Devaki, and they were killed by Kamsa. As soon as they were born, they were killed by Kamsa. And we know 7th pregnancy was Balram and 8th was Lord Krishna. And our acharyas says that, all these 6 sons represents the 6 enemies: lust, greed, anger, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. When they are killed, then Balram comes and purifies our body, and then Lord can enter into us. So, but the point is that we can't just find a fault. It's a small mistake, and it is basically to demonstrate the conditioning nature of this, the living entities in this world. We have to be careful and we can't just find a fault with Brahma, because he is a great personality, and he started carrying on. So from that personality, Vedas were manifested. You will see in the next session. From eastern mouth, this appeared. From western mouth, that appeared. That Veda like that. Okay, so let's move on to the next section, from 34 to 49. I will share the screen.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Text 34. Once upon a time, when Brahma was thinking of how to create the worlds, as in the past millennium, the four Vedas, which contain all varieties of knowledge, became manifested from his four mouths. Text 35. The four kinds of paraphernalia for conducting the fire sacrifice became manifest. The performer, that's the chanter, the offerer, the fire, and the action performed in terms of the supplementary Vedas. Also the four principles of religiosity: truth, austerity, mercy, and cleanliness, and the duties in the four social orders all became manifest. 36. Vidura said, O great sage, whose only wealth is penance, kindly explain to me how and with whose help Brahma established the Vedic knowledge which emanated from his mouth. Text 37. Maitreya said, beginning from the front face of Brahma, gradually four Vedas, Ruk, Yajur, Sama, and Atharva became manifest. Thereafter, Vedic hymns, which had not been pronounced before, priestly rituals, the subject matters of the recitation, and transcendental activities were all established one after another. He also created the medical science, military art, musical art, and architectural science, all from the Vedas. They all emanated one after another, beginning from the front face. Text 39. Then he created the fifth Veda, the Puranas and the histories, from all his mouths, since he could see all the past, present, and future. Text 40. All the different varieties of fire sacrifices, Sodasi, Ukta, Purishi, Agnistoma, Aptoryama, Atiratra, Vajpeya, and Gosava became manifested from the eastern mouth of Brahma. Text 41. Education, charity, penance, and truth are said to be the four legs of religion. And to learn this, there are four orders of life with different classifications of castes according to vocation. Brahma created all this in systematic order. Text 42. Then the thread ceremony for the twice born was inaugurated, as were the rules to be followed for at least 1 year after acceptance of the Vedas, rules for observing complete abstinence from sex life, vocations in terms of Vedic injunctions, various professional duties in household life, and the method of maintaining a livelihood without anyone's cooperation by picking up rejected grains. Text 43. The four divisions of retired life are the Vaikhanasas, Valakilyas, Udumbaras, and Phenapas. The four divisions of the renounced order of life are the Kuti-chakas, Bahavodas, Hamsas, and Niskriyas. All these were manifested from Brahma. Text 44. The science of logical argument, the Vedic goals of life, and also law and order, moral codes, and the celebrated hymn Bhu, Bhuvaha, and Swa all became manifested from the mouths of Brahma, and the Pranav, Omkar was manifested from his heart. Text 45. Thereafter, the art of literary expression, Usnik, was generated from the hairs on the body of the Almighty Prajapati. The principal Vedic hymn, Gayatri, was generated from the skin, Tristup from the flesh, Anustup from the veins, and Jagati from the bones of the Lord of the living entities. Text 46. The art of writing verse, Pankti, became manifested from the bone marrow, and that of Brahati, another type of verse, was generated from the life breath of the Lord of the living entities. Text 47. Brahma's soul was manifested as the touch alphabets, his body as the vowels, his senses as the sibilant alphabets, his strength as the intermediate alphabets, and his sensual activities as the 7 notes of music. Text 48. Brahma is the personal representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the source of transcendental sound, and is therefore above the conception of manifested and unmanifested. Brahma is the complete form of the absolute truth and is invested with multifarious energies. Text 49. Thereafter, Brahma accepted another body in which sex life was not forbidden, and thus he engaged himself in the matter of further creation. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. So as we have seen, so many things were manifested from Lord Brahma, Vedas, Puranas, and the rituals, and the sound, Gayatri, and various poetic meters, sounds, alphabets. So they were all created from Lord Brahma. So I thought I would like to read purport to text 47. Anybody?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I'll volunteer myself.
Yeah, sure, Prabhu.
In Sanskrit, there are 13 vowels and 35 consonants. The vowels are A, A, I, I, U, U, R, R, L, E, A, I, O, U.
No.
Like that. I, E, U, U, A.
E, O,
O, O, A, A. And the consonants are Ka, Ka, Ga, Ga, etc. Amongst the consonants, the first 25 letters are called the sparshas. There are also 4 antasthas. Of the usmas, there are the 3 sas called talavya, murdhanya, and dante. The musical notes are sa, ra, ga, ma, dha, and ni. And these sound vibrations are originally called Shabda Brahma, or spiritual sound. It is said, therefore, the Brahma was created in the Mahakalpa as the incarnation of spiritual sound. The Vedas are spiritual sound, and therefore there is no need of material interpretation for the sound vibration of Vedic literature. The Vedas should be vibrated as they are, although they are symbolically represented with letters which are known to us materially. In the ultimate issue, there is nothing material because everything has its origin in the spiritual world. The material manifestation is therefore called illusion in the proper sense of the term. For those who are realized souls, there is nothing but spirit.
Thank you, Prabhu. So here these, sensual activities as the 7 notes of music, the Saregamapada. So Prabhupada mentions they're also spiritual. And Prabhupada also mentions in this purport all the Vedic texts, they are sound representation of the Lord. So just by reading, one comes to mode of goodness. In the 16th chapter, the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the qualities of demons and divine are given. Demonic and divine are given. One of the quality of divine is swadhyayana. Swadhyayana means just reciting the Vedic literature. Reading the Vedic literature is a quality of divine. And by doing that regularly, reciting, one comes to simply a mode of goodness. And later it is said that Brahma had given up that body and accepted another body where sex life is permitted. So, first, in the first, he created ignorance, so he was dissatisfied, and then later Kumaras said no to his instruction. There was a disobedience he experienced. Thirdly, the children of progeny of Rudra created disturbance all over the universe. They wanted to devour the universe, so there was disturbance. And in the walk, the daughter of Brahma, where Lord Brahma got attracted, there was a distraction. He got distracted from the main path. And then he observed, although he created so many other sons, like etc., Narada, Marichi, Atri, like that, so many Prajapatis or patriarchs. So there was not enough progeny. So there was a deficiency. 5 Ds. Okay, remember? Displeased, disobedience, disturbance, distraction, and deficiency. All these children, they created Lord Brahma, they could not populate. So there was a deficiency. But the main point is Lord Brahma did not stop his activity, service. My dear friends, when we practice devotional service, there are so many challenges. So many challenges. When we come in the association of devotees, also we see this. Because I come with my baggage, my own baggage, some other person comes with his own baggage or her own baggage, then when we come together, it's a little like not so easy. There will be challenges. There will be challenges. But the point here that Lord Brahma is telling that in spite of all the difficulties, we should move forward. So that's the main point, and he did not stop his service. Today I was hearing my spiritual master. Today is the disappearance day of his divine grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, Param Guru of Srila Prabhupada. He's called Simha Guru, lion. He was like a lion. Very terrific personality. He had made so many things, and his main aim was preaching. And he was Yukta Vairagya. He was personified Yukta Vairagya. Yukta Vairagya means engaging everything in the service of the Lord. And in those days, like, like maybe 150 years ago, something like that, 100 years ago, whatever, he was, he was traveling on big cars. People were a little bit amazed. The sannyasi was traveling, in the cars. But his mood is that engaging everything in the service of the Lord. And my spiritual master was mentioning that there were 8 instructions given by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. And one of the points was this, that whatever happens, however many challenges come, don't give up your service. Or don't leave the movement. Don't stop practicing. However many difficulties come, difficulties will come. That is the nature of this universe, this material world. We have to move forward. Sometimes we make a small mistake. It doesn't matter. Then we have to just, just say goodbye to that and move forward. Just Lord Brahma, he had a little distraction, but he moved forward. So, okay, so the last part of the chapter is text 50 to 57.
Treasure Single Mataji, if you could wrap it up for us, please.
When he, text 52.
No, text 50 onwards, please.
50 onward, okay.
Yes, please.
Okay, sorry, word. Text 50. O son of the Kurus, when Brahma saw that in spite of the presence of sages of great potency, there was no sufficient increase in population, he seriously began to consider how the population could be increased. Brahma thought to himself, alas, it's wonderful that in spite of my being scattered all over, there is still insufficient population throughout the universe. There is no other cause for this misfortune but destiny. While he was thus absorbed in contemplation and was observing the supernatural power, 2 other forms were generated from his body, and they are still celebrated as the body of Brahma. The 2 newly separated bodies united together in a sexual relationship. Out of them, the one who had the male form became known as Manu, named Swayambhu, and the woman became known as Satrupa, the queen of the great soul Manu. Thereafter, by sex indulgence, they gradually increased generation of population one after another. O son of Bharata, in due course of time, he, Manu, begot in Satrupa 5 children, 2 sons, Priyavarta and Uttanapada, and 3 daughters, Akuti, Dehuti, and Prasuti. Text 57. The father Manu handed over his first daughter, Akuti, to the sage Ruchi, the middle daughter, Dehuti, to the sage Kardama, and the youngest, Prasuti, to Daksha. From them, all the world filled with the population. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. So here he was contemplating that there wasn't sufficient population even after, creation of so many sages and Prajapatis, patriarchs. While he was contemplating that, like that, there are 2 personalities came from his body, a male and a female. The male personality is known as Swayamphua Manu. He was the first Manu in this day of Brahma. And we talked quite a few times that we are in the 7th Manvantara. And the name of current Manu is Vaivasvata Manu. And the first Manu was Swayamphua. So he came out of the body of Brahma. The female personality was named Shatarupa, and they united and started producing children. And so they had 2 sons, 3 daughters. They were all very famous. Priyavrata, Uttanapada. We know the Uttanapad's son was Dhruva. We read about him in the 4th canto. Uttanapad's son Dhruva. So Dhruva achieved the planet of pole star. He's still there now with Lord Vishnu. And all the planets, they circumambulate this Dhruva planet, pole star. Priyavrata is a very famous personality. This Bhu Mandala was one entity in the past, but with his chariot wheel, he divided the entire Bhu Mandala into 7 islands and 7 oceans. And we are in the middle island that is called Jambudvipa. In the middle, we are a tiny fraction in Bharatavarsha and Bharatakanda. Very tiny fraction. All this we will read in the 5th canto. And later 3 daughters were also married, and that's how they populate the entire world. So that's end the 12th chapter, exactly 8 o'clock. So I'll stop it there. Yes, Madhav Kumar Prabhu, over to you.
I was just going to say, perfect on timing, Prabhu. I don't know if you do a rehearsal before the session, but
it's your presence. It's your presence that makes the difference, Mahaprabhu.
Everybody's together. Thank you so much for the detailed description of the creation of humanity, Prabhu. It was quite interesting to read. I was going to say in the Western world, everybody looks forward to this time of the year. We have some time available now. Most of us are off work, and it's a good time to utilize and take up some reading. I was meditating on verse 48, where you pointed out that Vedas are spiritual sound, and therefore there is no need of material interpretation for the sound vibration. And simply by reading the scriptures, we will eventually get purified. So we must take this direct instruction from Prabhupada's purpose. And while we have time during this time of the year, perhaps have personal goals of trying to get through a few pages or a few chapters or a few books perhaps, and begin, if not already, our own cleansing purification process. And if you're short on books, you know where we are. Please feel free to reach out. I've seen a couple of new members join. So if you are looking to get some reading done, we have the Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, and all the various scriptures available. Please reach out. And this is going to be what, the last, or we'll have one more session this year. I think we will have 30th also.
30th, yes. So
yeah, okay. So just wishing everyone
Krishna
time.
willing. Krishna willing.
Happy Christmas to everyone.
Hari Christmas.
Hari Christmas to everyone.
Yeah. So Meena Mataji raised her hand, and I would like to just mention one point as well. Just allow me I'll give us a couple of more minutes. Yes, Meena Mataji, please say.
Yeah, sorry, Prabhuji, you said Lord Brahma, he meditated before he started creating the world. So he meditated for 1,000 years, right?
100 years.
100 years, okay.
Yeah.
So then when he started creating, then Rudra and all, I mean, how they were sort of, I don't know what word to use, but in simple terms, misbehaved. And, they were devouring everything. So how after meditation, all these came out of his body?
Yeah. Very interesting. Mataji, very relevant question, I would say that, with the meditation, we get the patience and intelligence to carry on. That is the most important thing. Challenges will never stop coming. Bhagavatam, time and again, that shows. So when in the case of Ambarish Maharaj, there was a challenge, but how did he behave, in that challenge, in that condition? With Prahlad Maharaj, how did he behave? So with our meditation and maturity, our behavior changes to our perception, and our behavior towards the problem changes. Does it make sense?
But when he meditated, the Lord came into his heart and he kind of guided him on how to create the world, correct?
Yeah. But, some others are creating. Now Swayamphua Manu and Shatarupa are creating. So they had their own purpose. From each personality is demonstrating something. In the Bhagavatam, we only get tiny information, seriously. There is so much. Just imagine, 50 years of Brahma are already passed. Yeah. Just imagine how much was there before. 1 year, like one day we are struggling to understand. Even one day we are in the 7th Manvantara, there is so much. So but definitely we get that maturity to deal with the problems. That is the main thing that we get. Problems may come. Even Parikshit Maharaj, you may say that he was directly heard Bhagavatam from Parikshit Maharaj. He was personally protected by the Lord. What to speak of hearing Bhagavatam from Shukadeva Goswami, but he heard. But he said at the end of the day, let the snake come and bite me. that was his ability. That was his reaction towards the problem. Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much, and please, I humbly request all the devotees to come regularly. Sometimes some of the topics may be a little philosophical, some may be in the story form, but if we just show our perseverance, endeavor, just by following the footsteps of Brahma, if we just come and hear and read a little bit, that itself purifies. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. So I humbly request all the devotees, please come. It's only 1 hour. We are not taking much of your time. Please do come. I know that you're coming, but please, after reading this, it motivated me that we should carry on irrespective of anything.
Please, may I ask a question?
Sure, Ramsini Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Very much. Hare Krishna. Thank you for all the details you give us. It's just amazing. I can't retain it in my mind, but it's over and over again repeated helps. My question really is, somebody said to me, you know, they believe that the planet Earth is flat, and I've come across the information, you know, as you were showing us the flat plane of Bhu Mandala. So I'm kind of got my question really, can you help me to understand the two, you know, because I don't really understand that, please.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mataji. So we understand, we read quite a lot about the Earth. Earth, it's called Bhu Mandala in the 5th canto. And recently, I spent quite a lot of time in reading and understanding a book called Vedic Cosmology by an expert devotee in India who had spent quite a bit of time. He had done good few PhDs on this structure of the universe. The full details we will discuss in the 5th canto. But what I can say to you just now, the Bhu Mandala is like a lotus. It's like a terrace structure. We are only tiny fraction of the Bhu Mandala. Please remember that. There are so many other parts in Bhu Mandala. We are only tiny fraction, and this part of this fraction of the Bhu Mandala is said to be spherical in nature. This part, but the entire part is something like a terraced structure like this. It's difficult for me, but I will forward So if you take a flower, and the flower petals have different levels, isn't it? In the center there's ball, and there is another layer petals. There is another layer of petals on the bottom, like that. Like that, the entire Bhu Mandala is there. So the more details will be, we will discuss in the 5th canto. But what I will do is I will also put a link to the lecture series on this topic, and then you can watch it. It's quite a big topic. But the fraction, the part that we live in, is said to be spherical in nature.
Thank you so much. That's really helpful. Thank you.
So it's a big topic, Mataji. I will forward a link, and please do watch. You will enjoy that.
Thank you. Have a good holiday.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari. Manjula Mataji, you raised your hand. I'm happy. Some devotees are leaving, no problem. Are you still there? No. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Oh, hello. Sorry, it's
Hare
okay.
Krishna.
No worries.
No problem. Yeah, I'm happy. No problem. I'm happy to answer.
No, I just came. I think what Mataji was probably trying to say was that, if I've got it right, is that Lord Brahma meditated, and after meditation, the creation should have been more conducive or more positive rather than all the challenges that he faced. I think that was my understanding of Mataji's question, that something good should have come out of it instead of so much disturbance, probably.
Yeah, but that's what we discussed at a length, isn't it? Good is coming, definitely. So we will learn to deal with these problems. That is what comes out of our spirituality. The problems may come, but what we do is we will learn to deal with these problems. That is what comes out. Prahlad Maharaj, he had problems, although he was a pure devotee of the Lord. And Parikshit Maharaj, he heard Bhagavatam. You may question, after hearing Bhagavatam, why snake should come and bite and kill him. But what was his response to the problem? So the problems may come, but our response, our reaction towards the problem changes. That is the answer that I can understand, Mataji.
I agree on that. I think, Prabhu, that sounds very reasonable.